Roll out the red carpet and get out your acceptance speech because we have your Backstage Pass to Hollywood. Backstage Pass starts now.
In 5, 4,
3, 2,
Are you ready?
Hey Explorers, welcome back to Backstage Pass, where we give you the scoop on all things entertainment. My name is Lucas Alvin.
And my name is Kayla McRae, your other host of Backstage Pass. But you probably already knew that, I hope.
Hey, you forgot about me. My name is Patrick O'Hara, your third host of Backstage Pass. We have a lot to cover today, and to be honest, we're thinking about starting a rebellion. Okay, not actually, but we are going to talk all things rebellion. Let's get into it, shall we?
Let's talk movies. The first thing that comes to mind to me are the cult classics. Cult classic films are rebellious in nature to me. They're often films that are misunderstood or even frowned upon by general audiences at first release. Eventually, the film may gain a new deep appreciation by fans who like it exactly for what it is. A lot of cult films feature lots of violence or horror themes of sexuality or social commentary, and sometimes they're even so bad that they're good. I love cult films. I could go on all day, but my favorite cult movie of all time is 1991's Thelma and Louise. What makes this a beloved cult film? Well, there's the general audience, and then there's the group of fans who are low-key obsessed with it and change their entire lives, like me. The film focuses on two best friends, the title characters, played by Gina Davis and Susan Sarandon, who go on a road trip that goes terribly awry, turning them into criminals on the lam. The film is loved and hated. People often think the film's very direct criticism of sexism is just straight up misandry. It's really not, guys. Not only that, but its bold and tragic ending was very unconventional and made a powerful statement that further enforced its main feminist themes. These themes and the way the story unfolds and the wardrobe transformations of Thelma and Louise gives its rebel spirit. It's the perfect film for me.
I'm also a huge fan of cult classic movies. The issue is there are too many I love, and I can't just choose one. But if we're talking about ones that go against the norms, then I have to mention the ridiculousness that is the 1980 film Airplane. The story follows the troubled former pilot, Ted Stryker, who buys a plane ticket to attempt to win back his flight attendant ex-girlfriend, Elaine Dickinson. The film is filled with comedy that is not only funny, but perfectly fits into the story without derailing it, leaving its writing as a popular film for communication students to study.
While on the topic of comedy that is perfectly fitting into a captivating story, it's certainly worth mentioning a television series that focuses on Black and queer culture in the late 1980s and early 90s, when the AIDS epidemic found itself on the rise. The 3-season FX drama series, Pose, set in New York, put viewers in the center of the city's ballroom culture, with almost all characters being transgender and/or gay. As the story unfolds, our characters find themselves rebelling against the odds against them in order to survive. What makes the show so unique is the fact that the events that occur in the show are similar to ones that actually took place in real life, and unfortunately still do for those of the LGBTQIA+ community. It's a very realistic show that certainly emphasizes a small part of history that shouldn't be overlooked. Through a fictional entertainment lens, that is, it's certainly worth a watch.
While on the topic of rebels on TV, I have to mention my favorite pro wrestler, Tetsuya Naito. Starting out, he had all the makings of a future star for New Japan Pro Wrestling. The look, charisma, in-ring ability, all that. However, when booked into higher profile matches, things started to change for Naito. He would lose the matches, leaving arena audiences frustrated and booing him, despite the fact that he fought honorably. This left Naito feeling abandoned by the fans and the company. He left Japan to go on a temporary excursion to Mexico in 2014, where he joined the misfit faction Los Ingobernables. He returned to Japan in 2015 with a cool new attitude, beginning to use underhand tactics and cheating in his matches. However, the most bizarre thing happened. Fans began to empathize with Naito and cheer for him, soon making him the most popular wrestler in New Japan Pro Wrestling. There's a lot more to the story, but I'll leave that up to you to find out.
So now you got a taste of our favorite rebellious TV and movie icons. Now, let's pivot to our friend Maddie Green of the Lit Lounge, where she talks about the cult classic film Bottoms on her segment, So Boom. Take it away, Maddie.
What's up, y'all? It's your girl Maddie Green back again with another retelling that nobody asked for, but everybody needs. Welcome to So Boom, where I retell movies the only way I know how, loud, confused, and with just enough accuracy to not get sued. Don't forget to follow us on IG at LaSalle Lit Lounge, and today's movie is The Chaotic Gay Girls, the Fight Club Fantasizers, and anyone who's ever thought maybe violence is a way of flirting. We're talking about the absurd, hilarious, unhinged masterpiece called Bottoms. So boom, we're in high school. Not just any high school, we're in a high school where football players are basically celebrities, and being queer and popular, that's a crime. Enter our two chaotic leads, PJ and Josie. They're best friends and out and proud lesbians, and also certified losers. Like, they can't even get a text back, let alone a date. They're crushing hard on the school's hot girls, Isabel and Brittany, but it's giving Delulu, not really reality. But then boom, they get into some mess at school, and somehow, some way, they convince everyone, including the principal, that they're starting a feminist fight club to empower girls, when really, they just trying to get closer to their crushes. Bro, yes, you heard me. They started a fight club to get girls, a fight club to get girls. Iconic behavior. And shocker, it actually works. Suddenly, they're building a squad of angry, unhinged girls who are throwing punches and sharing feelings, and honestly, it's kind of beautiful. But PJ and Josie, they're lying through their teeth. They said they went to juvie, they making up fake stories, and their whole club is built on vibes and violence. Now, the school's golden boy, football star Jeff, he's feeling threatened. He's dumb, he's toxic, and he's got rage issues that even the fight club can't fix. Things escalate, feelings get hurt, blood gets spilled, PJ and Josie fall out, and the whole operation nearly crashes and burns. But then boom, the rival football team tries to pull a whole evil plot during homecoming, and the girls, they unite, glove up, and throw hands like their lives depended on it. And when I tell you they beat these boys down like WWE meets Euphoria, chaos, carnage, catharsis. And by the end, PJ and Josie learned that being honest, standing together, and maybe not lying about juvie is the real move. Moral of the story, wanting love is cute, but starting a fight club to get it, that's the real gay experience. And if you ever get a crush, just remember, punching people might not be the answer, but it's definitely a movie. And that's the tea on Bottoms. This was So Boom. I'm Maddie, and make sure to follow at LaSalle Lit Lounge on Instagram to keep up with all of our latest events. Till next time, peace.
Thanks, Maddie. We love Bottoms on Backstage Pass, but you know what else we love? Music. Let's talk rebellious music moments and what our faves are.
If we're talking about rebellious music genres, then we gotta start with the ever-rebellious punk rock. There are many debates and interpretations of what exactly defines this genre, but the general agreement is that the music is aggressive, fast-moving, and goes against the corporate mainstream. In similar fashion, the genre's origins are just as controversial. Punk rock came out of 1960s garage rock, which was considered amateurish and more aggressive for its time. By the early 70s, garage rock evolved into a more distinct sound that became punk. It's difficult to exactly pinpoint who the first punk band was. However, there are a few bands that are commonly cited as the founders. Some music fans consider the founders to be the band The Stooges, but more commonly, the Ramones are said to be the founders. And then you have the Sex Pistols, who didn't start punk, but largely influenced what became the British punk rock movement. The genre is difficult to wrap your head around, but very enjoyable.
I love punk rock music, or just rock in general, alternative, indie, grunge, punk, you name it. All these subgenres of rock are not the same, but they share similar themes. On a daily basis, you can find me listening to Pearl Jam, Biba Doobie, Mama, Bad Brains, We Don't Ride Llamas, Liz Phair, Veruca Salt, Hole, all that good stuff. All of them have that grunge sound that I love so much. But hey, this isn't the only music I listen to on a daily basis that I consider counterculture. Any genre could have these themes, like hyperpop. I think of Charli XCX as an example of this, specifically her brat era. The embracing of the word brat, which has a negative connotation, to being a girl who loves to party and, quote, is honest, blunt, and a little bit volatile, and goes out with clothes she already has in her closet instead of buying fast fashion, fits the mold. It's about unapologetically being yourself. And I get that same vibe from Chappell Roan, another popular pop diva whose catchy pop songs, flashy themed outfits, and loud, unwavering support for LGBTQ rights place her in the same category. She's also not afraid to be herself, says what she feels, and sets boundaries with her fans and the media.
If we're talking about rebellious music, then I have to mention one of my favorite genres, Visual Kei. Visual Kei, founded in the late 1980s, is known for its flamboyant costumes and theatrical performances. Its obscure music compositions and origins are what separates it from other genres. Visual Kei stemmed from the slogan, psychedelic violence, crime of visual shock, which belonged to the genre's founders, X-Japan. When they started, X-Japan was criticized for their look. They wanted to be a part of Japan's punk scene, but were denied because they looked too commercial. Despite this, their audiences kept growing, and from there they became one of the first Japanese acts to have mainstream success while under an independent label. Their discography consists of a mix of many different genres. This experimentation influenced later Visual Kei bands like Malice Mizer, who mixed metal with French pop, and Duran Gray, who mixed melodic tunes with death metal. These are just the origins of Visual Kei. However, I strongly suggest you be a true rebel and search out more bands in your free time.
Another genre I want to briefly mention is hip-hop. The very nature of hip-hop is counterculture. It originated in the 1970s in New York City, cultivated by Black and Latino communities as a way to express their artistry. Rap stands for rhythm and poetry, but it also means striking a hard surface with a series of rapid, audible blows. Hip-hop had its first big boom in the early 80s with Sugar Hill Gang's song, Rapper's Delight, which then snowballed into the 80s and 90s hip-hop boom with MC Lyte, Tupac, Queen Latifah, Lil' Kim, Eve, Biggie Smalls, so much more. Hip-hop and rap would not be as popular today if it weren't for these guys. Rap is also very versatile. Some range from fun party tracks to socially conscious rebellious tracks like Fight the Power by Public Enemy. Some of my favorite rap artists include the very socially conscious Diggable Planets, A Tribe Called Quest, and Doechii.
The US industry is known to screw over its artists 9 times out of 10, but there's been one who's played a Uno reverse card in 2019. Taylor Swift's masters were sold to Republic Records without her knowledge to a man who, allegedly, had been trying to take down Taylor for many years. While she could have taken the loss and moved on, she decided to instead re-record all of the albums that had been sold to reclaim her work as her own. Interestingly enough, these re-recordings led Swift to become one of the world's biggest artists, especially as she embarked on her iconic The Eras Tour, which was built on the foundation of her previous album Eras that had been sold and later reclaimed. It takes strength to make such a bold move, but if it's a game of chess, Swift certainly makes it known that she couldn't lose. Now, how could we talk rebellious music history if we didn't mention the Queen Bee? You know, Beyoncé. Over the years, Beyoncé has gone on to break the pop music, and she knows it. From her culturally moving Lemonade album in 2016 to Cowboy Carter in 2024, the Queen herself makes it known that she is not to be kept in a box. She makes her own rules, from genre changes to iconic performances. Hey, what's not to mention? Okay, our music talk isn't over yet. In fact, we're just getting started, and honestly, you should feel bad for thinking that we're done, but so it's okay. You can sulk a bit more with this next segment from our friend Cooper McSkippy. Spoiler alert, it's punky. Take it away, Cooper.
Do you think Jesus is a genie and Bryce Harper the best person in the last 10 years? Then you share the same mentality with one of the best punk bands of all time. My name's Cooper McSkippy, and this is The Dead Milkmen, and you should feel bad as a person for not liking them, where I explain some of the best punk bands to ever do it, and why you are a bad person for not liking them. If we look over to Chester County, where we can find Anthony Joseph Gennaro actively being born in Wagontown, Pennsylvania. Boo, boo, Wagontown. But later in his life, he did move somewhere in Philadelphia. Yeah, Philly. In his time in Philly, he adapted the name Joe Jack Talcum, which is awesome, by the way, great stage name. He met keyboardist Rodney Anonymous and bassist Dave Blood and drummer Dean Clean. In a dirty home studio in Jack's bedroom, they became the Dead Milkmen. Together as a band, they released 22 studio albums over 42 years. For perspective, maybe the best punk band to ever do it, the Dead Kennedys, only made 4. And for more perspective, one of the most mediocre bands in recent Australian history, King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, have 82 in 15 years. On a side note, I had no idea they made that many albums. I wanted to include them because I thought it would be like funny, because I know they recorded a lot. But 82 in 15 years? No, you can't do that. I'm Cooper McSkippy and I say no. You can't do that. But back to the Dead Milkmen and all that. But 82 in 15 years is crazy. The Dead Milkmen. On to the Dead Milkmen. Their first album, Big Lizard in My Backyard, released relatively unknown in the general music scene. They didn't really blow up to become this household name until their second album, Beelzebubba, in 1987. This album got the exposure it needed because of their MTV performance of the song Punk Rock Girl, which is by far their most famous song they released. This launched them into like the popular zeitgeist. They met good commercial success, even making a couple soundtracks for movies. But their inability to make a hit past that one song put tensions on the group, and they released my personal favorite album, Not Richard, but Dick, that flopped horribly and was one of the last nails in the very punk rock coffin and they broke up in 1998. Just kidding, gang. I lied. They are back. After a 13-year hiatus, they got back together and started releasing new music, which they're still doing to this day. They captured their original energy. They are just old and less hot. And now these old, fat men keep doing what they love and they don't really care about anybody else. They're truly punk rock icons. They might not be the most hardcore or sound like Tsunami, but they still found major success with songs like Punk Rock Girl, Stewart, I Dream of Jesus. They found their satirical, funny, and political sound. To be a punk, you don't have to write the heaviest breakdown, blast the hardest beat, or sing the fastest and most profane lyrics. To be a punk is to burn it down. If you ever get the opportunity to see them live, I highly urge you to take it. They play small venues in Philly and give back to the house shows where they started. They always stayed true to their anarchist belief, their punk rock sound, and really who they are. Because if you love somebody, you set them on fire. And I'm Cooper McSkippy. Follow me on Instagram and Spotify at Cooper McSkippy. And this has been the Dead Milkmen and why you are a bad person for not liking them. So let's switch back to the studio. Patrick, Kayla, and Lucas.
Unfortunately, Cooper, I am a bad person. Yeah, I know. I hadn't known about the Dead Milkman before, but I sure do now. I'll be sure to give them a listen. I hope that's not too controversial of me to say.
When you think of rebellious video games, I imagine you would think of titles like Grand Theft Auto and Cyberpunk 2077, Assassin's Creed, and all the other games that allow players to act rebellious through fighting. However, I don't need fighting to act rebellious in video games. Instead, I'll just speed away in my car, but safely and digitally in the game flat out too. Its racing mode is a great blend of arcade driving with realistic handling, which is great and all, but I think the side modes are really where the game shines, like Demolition Derby mode, where you crash into cars trying to be the last one standing, or the true rebellious mode in the game, and my personal favorite, Stunt mode, where you perform in mini-games that require you to drive down a ramp and shoot a man out of your car. All this may sound ridiculous for a racing game, because it is, but I can't recommend it enough. You'll have so much fun and feel like a rebel while doing it.
One of my favorite mentions of rebellious pop culture moments would be the 2020 phenomenon of Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion's hit single, WAP. Now, its purpose was to be a sex-positive and female-empowering anthem. However, when going viral on social media platform known as TikTok, it was met with a large amount of public scrutiny and backlash from the internet due to its lyrics and content. Nonetheless, the song went on to have a life of its own and even became the laughingstock of memes. Additionally, the title became used to trick parents into thinking the title meant worship and prayer, and even waffles and pancakes.
I remember that moment like it was yesterday. But here's a moment that I wasn't present for, but still find pretty iconic. Now, we all know Prince, right? One of the best to ever do it with that iconic purple guitar and singer of Purple Rain. We also know he's won several awards during his lifetime, including a very questionable one. In 1985, Prince won the American Music Award for Favorite Black Single for When Doves Cry. I'm already giving the side eye. Why did they separate the categories by race like that? Prince caught on to the nonsense too, and when he walked up to receive his award, he made sure the audience knew. He had a blank expression on his face, and all he said was, "Thank you." No cushy acceptance speech or anything, and he walked off, because honestly, a category like that is kind of unacceptable, and Prince went against the norm and made it known. It's iconic.
We've covered a lot of rebellious entertainment things, but we're not done yet. We took to the streets to ask people what their favorite pop culture controversies and moments are. Let's take a look.
Hey Explorers, welcome to Backstage Asks. I'm Kayla McCrae.
I'm Patrick O'Hara.
Lucas Alvin.
So we're feeling a little rebellious today, except half of us don't look the part. All I'm wearing is jeans and this LaSalle jacket that I thrifted. What about you?
I just hacked the database, guys.
Maybe you're the most rebellious out of all of us. What about you, Lucas?
I like my Hello Kitty shirt.
Valid. Even though we may not look the part, this is how we feel. And today, our question is somewhat along the lines of that. We're asking explorers what their favorite pop culture moments of all time were, or what their most favorite controversial pop culture moments of all time were. So, let's see what they have to say. Hi, what's your name?
Hi, I'm Red.
My name is Grayson.
Hi, it's Maddie.
Hi, I'm Genesis.
My name is Joseph James.
Hi, Joseph James.
Hi, I'm Cheyenne.
Zainab.
My name's Kiana.
My name is Cameron.
So today we're going to be asking one simple question. Are you ready?
Yes.
The question is, what is one of your favorite controversies or like most famous pop culture moments of all time?
I would say the Alabama and Bad Baby beef. Team Bad Baby. Only one right answer here.
That's a very broad question, but at this very moment, I'm still relishing in the fact that Kendrick Lamar is such a hater that at the Super Bowl, he managed to perform a song that was a diss track to Drake and get millions of people to call him a pedophile live. So as of right now, that is my favorite pop culture moment of just I aspire to be that much of a hater and that much of a brilliant artist to be such a well-renowned hater.
I think my favorite's probably like the newer releases of the Hunger Games books. The original trilogy was pretty iconic, and I really like that the author kept adding to it. So
My favorite controversy, the one that I find the most hilarious, is the fact that Leah Michele from Glee, she played Rachel Berry, she can't read. It is so hilarious because she tried to disprove it and everybody's like, well, she just memorized the book. And I'm like, can't dispute that. It's so funny. I love it.
Can Leah Michele read is the question for the culture.
To be or not to be, that is the question.
Leah Michele, can you read?
Can you read?
Kendrick Lamar, 40 Acres and a Mule, Uncle Sam, that was just so like iconic. There was so much art and intellect and just politics involved in all of it, and it was just a nice mix of everything. There were even things that like I missed that I had to rewatch and, you know, watch some TikToks about, and I was like, oh my God, like I totally missed that, you know?
Probably when I figured out Ted Cruz eats children.
What?
I've seen it happen. I mean, nobody took their camera out to record it, but like I saw it with my own eyes. I went to Washington D.C. once, picked up a child, ate him right off the street.
You encountered the whole thing?
Yeah, I saw it. I'm an eyewitness to Ted Cruz eats children.
Disclaimer: we don't support any slander here. Yeah.
Another one, a follow-up would be when Matthew Broderick. He was in Ireland one time, and he was drunk, and he drove on the wrong side of the road because he's from America. And he hit a guy and killed him. He paid the family millions of dollars, and he got away with it. We're about to be the next pop culture controversy.
Oh, I'm about to get canceled. Thank you.
So I really rock with Chaperone debuted The Giver and then on SNL, and I think that was really fun. And then it was also when she sang Pink Pony Club, I think it was, at SNL, and everyone in the crowd was singing along. I think that was good. A controversy, Morgan Wallen left before the credits ended at SNL, and that's a big no-no in the SNL community. So
definitely the Drake and Kendrick beef because I love music, so that gave me 3 albums to listen to for the rest of the month, and I was good.
My favorite pop culture controversy was Chris Rock getting slapped on stage, and I thought of it because it was funny how random it happened.
I feel like that one particular quote really left a mark.
It really did. Keep my wife's name out your mouth.
Exactly. Censorship.
It was really random.
Those were some excellent responses from our fellow explorers. So I need to ask you guys now, what are your favorite pop culture moments of all time?
My favorite are like the 80 Ariana Grande controversy. So first we're going to start off with the donut incident. That one was excellent. Then we have the Ariana race bending allegations where, you know, she plays Black Yana and Arigato. And then furthermore, we have the allegations of her home wrecking, aka home wreckiana. And does she have any more? I don't know. Ariana's just known as the last race bender, so here we are.
I remember all of those. That's so funny. Lucas, what about you?
Oh, it would have to be Yoshiki saying he created an album and then after 10 years, still not releasing it, but saying it's still ready.
Oh my God.
That's me when an assignment.
Okay, so mine, I would say in recent years, I'm gonna say 2 of them. One, I guess, is Olivia Rodrigo's whole moment when she had the driver's license, and then furthermore, Good For You. I remember when those boomed. Like that whole Sour album, when that boom came out, I was in high school. It was crazy. Like, it was such a good album.
You had to be there.
You had to be there. The second pop culture moment of all time, I guess I would say Chappell Roan's rise to fame. That was also epic. I technically can say that I knew her before she was famous. And also, Chappell Roan's a very controversial figure. Like, she says anything that's like, kind of like, you know, low-key, like a little dramatic, and the internet just like bam, like they hate her.
Boo, people, boo, I don't like people.
Anyway, let's get back to studio with us.
Those were some pretty rebellious answers. Thank you to all who chatted with us. Well, I think that Punk dies here today, but don't worry, there's a special place where you can connect with us on social media.
Get out your phone and follow us on these various platforms seen on your screen. Give us a follow, leave a comment, and let us know if you have any suggestions. Plus, you can check out this week's segment of Backstage Asks on our Instagram, along with some great behind-the-scenes content. So make sure you're following us. If you don't, we'll start a rebellion. Well, I'm just kidding. We won't. But thank you all for an incredible show. I'm Patrick O'Hara.
And my name is Kayla McCrae.
And lastly, I'm Lucas Alvin. Thank you for watching Backstage Pass, and we'll see you next time.